Move over, Cozy Mysteries. I am going to read some romance this summer. Hello, Booktube. Welcome to Lizzie Faye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth. And if you've already seen my first part 1 of my summer TBR, you know that I do have plans to read a very eclectic group of books. I already talked about the book club books that I'm going to be reading, and a little bit about the other Sunshine State books that I'm planning to read, and about my 20 by 20 stacked challenge. And I will be giving you an update on that at the end of June. I'll let you know how I've been doing for the first 6 months of the year on my 20 by 20 stacks. So what I wanted to do in this video is talk a little bit about the Summer Romance Bingo. That is hosted by Sarah from Not Just Romance Novels and Sissy, the Romance Queen of Booktube. They came up with this idea to do a bingo card and make it all romance challenges. Now, I first looked at the bingo card online, and thankfully I wrote it down, because when I went and hooked my computer up to the printer to print it out, I accidentally refreshed it and got a whole new card, and I didn't even realize that was going to happen. I went back and watched Sarah's announcement video again, and she fully said every time you refresh this, you're going to get a different arrangement of the challenges, but I somehow missed that. And I wondered why, when I was watching Giselle Bradley do her planning, why she was just putting the challenges wherever she wanted them on the bingo card. I thought, that isn't right. This is supposed to be here, and that's supposed to be there. Well, duh, it's not. It changes around every time you print it out. And I'll leave a link below to Sarah's Goodreads group, which is now, she took her old Goodreads group and revamped it to be specifically for the Summer Romance Book Bingo. And it is, in that, it has a link to these really cool bingo cards. And every time you refresh it, you can get a different arrangement. So you can basically keep refreshing it until you get one you like, or you can do like Giselle did and just write them wherever you want them, or you can do like I'm doing and stick with the very first one that I saw. And so within that, I picked out one line that I am for sure gonna do, and I have a few other romance books on my TBR and in my 20 by 20 stack challenge, and I might end up filling the whole card, but I'm not going to pressure myself to do it because I have all these other summer reading goals as well. So I told myself, if I just get one line done, then I will be happy with that, and I will have accomplished the Summer Romance Book Bingo. But today I'm going to show you what I'm going to read for those 5 challenges for the bingo that I have picked out, and then a few other romance books that are on my 20 by 20 stack challenge, and a couple of others that I found on my shelves that look interesting. And I'll find out maybe from you if you've read any of these, or if you're interested in reading any of these and want a buddy read or whatever. So let's get started. Now, on my card that I thankfully wrote down, I plan to do a diagonal bingo going up from the bottom left to the top right. So these challenges going from the bottom left, the first one is to read a book set in a foreign country, a country that is not your own. And the book I chose could actually fit several different challenges, and if I end up trying to fill my whole card, I may end up moving this around. But for now, this is what I have chosen. I'm going to read A Voice in the Wind by Francine Rivers. This is the first book in the Mark of the Lion trilogy, and several months ago, I believe Lisa from Liking Books was talking about this, and we mentioned then that we might buddy read it. So Lisa, if you're watching this and you want to buddy read this book, what I would like to do is save this for Tome Topple. I think there's going to be a Tome Topple this summer, and this would fit the Tome Topple parameters of being more than 500 pages. And one of the challenges is usually to do a buddy read. So if you're up for that, Lisa, this is what I would like to read for that challenge, and it will fit in with the Romance Book Bingo. Okay, so the next challenge going up is to read a book that is written by an author who's using a pseudonym. Now, this is going to require a little bit of explanation, because what I chose to read, I don't have a picture of it. I am listening to it on Audible. Actually, I should have, while I'm talking, let me see if I can pull it up on my Kindle. Okay, so you guys are familiar with the Eternity Springs series by Emily March. So I have, this is the first book, Angel's Rest, and I have been collecting those books. In fact, I finally just a couple days ago found the only book I was missing, which is book 2, Hummingbird Lane or Lake, Hummingbird Lane, I believe. So I was super excited about it. I found it at my friend's flea market bookstore, and so that is just made my day, made my week. So what I discovered from just reading more about Emily March and looking into her catalog of books is that she used to write under the name Geraldine Dawson, and she wrote a series called the Callahan Brothers, and that series is actually a prequel series to the Eternity Springs series. So that first book was called Give Her the Slip or Give Him the Slip or something like that. Now that series has been re-released under the name Emily March, and it is called, the first book is called Luke, and if I can get it to come up, it's, well, there we go. It's called, well, let me see here. There we go.
This is Audible.
This is Audible.
The Callahan Brothers.
There we go. All right, now it and according to Goodreads, this is the first book in the Callahan Brothers trilogy. Further research has shown me that there are actually 2 more books ahead of that, which are introductions to Brazos Bend, which is now what this is Luke, the Callahan Brothers, but if you look up this Emily March series, it's now called Brazos Bend, but there's 2 books that come before this. And anyway, it's all confusing, but apparently there are 5.5 books in the Callahan Brothers or Brazos Bend series, and I say half because there's a novella that is called the Callahan Carol, and that is a segue into Eternity Springs. So I decided that since this first book, Luke, is on the Audible romance package, I would go ahead and listen to it, and I am about half done with it at this point, and it's really good so far. I am thoroughly enjoying it. Now, though, I found out, I mean, this is technically the first in a trilogy, but there's apparently 2 more ahead of it. My library doesn't have them. They are on Kindle. I could buy them as an ebook, but I just went ahead and emailed my librarian this morning, and I told her about all 5 of these books because no library in our county has any of them, and I just kind of asked her politely if she might order some of them or all of them, and so hopefully she will. So anyway, it's called Luke, but the pseudonym, and so if I end up moving this around, I can use this for the challenge to read a 1-word title. But technically, in its first installation, which had a different title, it was written under a pseudonym. Does that make any sense at all? I know I've rambled about one challenge, and I'm going to move on. So the next one is Reader's Choice, and what I have chosen to read for that is The Welcome Committee of Butternut Creek. Doesn't this just look so fun? This is a trilogy by Jane Myers Perrine, and the second book I also own. It is called The Matchmakers of Butternut Creek, and then the third book is called The Wedding Planners of Butternut Creek, and I've been on the search for it, but I haven't found it yet. I discovered that all 3 of these books are part of the Audible romance package, which I recently subscribed to, and I am probably going to just go ahead and knock them all out this summer. All 3 of them, and I'm hoping that I can make them all count for one of these bingo challenges. So then the next one is to read a book with 10,000 reviews on Goodreads. Now, I think I heard Sarah say that really what she meant was ratings, but I'm still going for reviews, and I chose, and this is just a placeholder because I don't have Clockwork Princess, which is the 3rd book in the Infernal Devices series. I pulled this one off Katie's shelf, City of Bones, just so that I would remember to show it to you. I believe all of these books have more than 10,000 reviews. All of the the Mortal Instruments and the Infernal Devices. So I've been reading these in publication order, and so my next one to read is Clockwork Princess. I believe, you know what? I'm not sure I went back and read the next one in this series. So I may have to read it first before I get to Clockwork Princess, but we'll see. I believe that Clockwork Princess is also a tome, so that is another one I will not read until I know if there's going to be a tome topple, and I'll read it during tome topple. Okay, the next one, the fifth one to complete the bingo, is inspirational. So I really wanted to read the third one in the Yellow Rose of Texas trilogy by Lori Wick, and I don't have it in front of me, and I can't seem to locate it on audio. However, I think I would prefer to actually read it in print because the narrator, I listened to the first two in the trilogy on audio and I was not a fan of the narrator. So if I have time and I can pick that up and read it in print from the library, I will do that. But another option, I actually have 3 other inspirational options, and another one is by Lori Wick. I want to reread The Proposal, and I'm pretty sure I own this on audio on a cassette tape, and I still have a tape player floating around here somewhere. So I am interested in starting this whole series again. There's 4 in the series. When I did my 20 by 20 TBR, or my 20 by 20 announcement or whatever, I thought this was only a trilogy, and I said this was going to be one of the trilogies that I would read, but I discovered there's a 4th book, which I don't own. So I flip-flopped, and now I replaced it with this trilogy, but I still want to read this whole series. And this is really good. I've read this before. It takes place in 1810 London. Oh, so this would actually count as a foreign country. It's about a man who he's not interested in a relationship or getting married or anything like that. And one of his relatives dies and leaves his 3 children in his care. So now the 3 children are trying to, play matchmaker. They want him to get married so they can have a mother. And it's just really sweet. It's endearing. And I thoroughly loved it. And I've never read the rest of the series, and I've always wanted to. Okay. So that would complete the bingo, but let me go ahead and show you the other inspirational ones that I have on my TBR. And again, I'm pretty sure I can plug these in somewhere. I had said that I wanted to read how many more? 11 more Grace Livingston Hill books as part of my 20 by 20 stack challenge. That's number 11 on my stacks. So the next one that I'm supposed to read is Bright Arrows, and I couldn't lay my hand on it. It is somewhere in my jumble. But then the third one that I want to read is in this bind up of 3 books. It's called A Girl to Come Home To. I'm pretty sure I've read that one in the past, but what I want to do is just read all 100 Grace Livingston Hill books from, in numbered order from 1 to 100. They are numbered because that's the way they were released in series, but most of them are not related at all, so you don't have to read them in order. I just thought it would be kind of fun to go through my shelf and read them in order. And most of my Grace Livingston Hill books are paperback, but I do have a few book club editions that my mother gave me that I wanted to keep, and so I have not bought the paperbacks for those. Although, now that I'm thinking about it, this is going to be heavy to carry around, so I really ought to just get them all in paperback and get rid of these bigger editions. But my mom gave them to me. My mom has been gone for several, 10 years this year, and so it's kind of hard sometimes to give up things that someone gave you if they've already passed on. Okay, then another inspirational one. I've read the first 2 in this bind up. I need to read the third one, which is Hope. This is the Brides of the West series by Lori Copeland, and I now have all 6 of them in 2 of these big bind up books, and I would like to finish this series as part of my 20 by 20 stack challenge. So if I could get the third one read, Hope, during the summer, that would be awesome. Okay, now, I don't know where all these would fit in, but here are a few others that are a good chance that I will read. Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. I borrowed this from Katie's shelf. This is on the Audible romance package. I was kind of surprised because I didn't really realize that this was a romance, but I believe this almost has 10,000 reviews, so I could almost count it for that. In fact, Sarah went back and said, it could be 8 to 10,000, but anyway, I don't know where else this could fit. Oh, it's a standalone. I believe this is a standalone book, so I could use it for that. Then I noticed also on the Audible Romance package, Book 2 in the Harmony series by Jodie Thomas is Somewhere Along the Way. I read Book 1 last year and loved it, so I already have this checked out through the romance package, and it will probably be the next romance that I listen to on audio. I am super excited. There are several from that series that are part of the romance package. And this is another book by Jodie Thomas that is, I believe this is on the romance package. If it's not, some of the others from the series are. So I might have to read this one in print and then get to the others. I don't really think I'll start this series until I get more of the Harmony series read, but it is a romance. It's on my list, and there is a challenge to read a book with a cowboy. So there you go. And then part of a series, I want to read Wisconsin Wedding by Carla Neggers. This is book 3 in the Welcome to Tyler series. I noticed that one of the other bingo participants, her name is Mande, I think is it Mande Garrett? She is reading book 2 from the series, which is a sports romance, which is another one of the topics. Yeah. Another one of the challenges. And so I was excited to see someone else reading the same series. This is an older series, I think from the 90s. I was, of course, drawn to it by because of the quilt blocks on the cover. And I don't really know what this one's about other than that it's about a wedding. So that would have been a good challenge to have read a romance book with the word wedding in the title. That would have been fun. So, Sarah, maybe for next year, if you want to switch it up a little bit. I was also thinking that Christmas in July might be a fun challenge. I know you talked about doing a Christmas challenge, but it might be kind of fun to have a Christmas book as part of the challenges, too. I don't know, just thinking. All right, so moving on. When I was pulling books for this video, I remembered this series is a series I would like to read this year, and romance is one of the genres listed. If you look on Goodreads, it's Waltzing at the Piggly Wiggly by Robert Dalby, and maybe this has a musician in it because they are waltzing and dancing, so maybe it would fit that challenge. I don't know that this is available on audio. I am probably going to have to read it in print, so that means I might not get to it. But we'll see. And then this is a book that I bought a while back and just ran across it when I was looking for my romances. And I looked it up, and romance is one of the genres listed for it too. This is The Irresistible Blueberry Bake Shop and Cafe by Mary Simses. And it looks really cute. I love the cover, and I don't know anything about it. It says that in order to fulfill her grandmother's dying wish, she has to find, I guess, her grandmother's hometown boyfriend, and give that she once loved, and give him her last letter. So sounds like it'll be bittersweet, and I think it sounds great. So that will be very good. All right, I think I've shown you everything that I pulled. Now, I know that's not even close to being 25 books. And like I said, I don't know that I will read that many. I'm for sure going to read one bingo, and then if I get any of these others read, I'll plug them in, and maybe I can make 2 bingos. I don't know. We'll just see. But there are several people participating that that I follow. Giselle Bradley has been working on her TBR, and can't even remember who else now. So anyway, if you hadn't heard about this and you're interested in participating, I will put the information down below. I think it's going to be super fun. It goes from June 1st through August 31st. So you have a full 3 months to read some romances, and so let me know if you're thinking about participating. I hear my phone ringing, so I'm going to sign off here. That's all I have for this video. I hope you're having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.